Hello and welcome to another episode of Honest to a Malt with myself, Duncan Donut, seemingly unable to say Ryan or Tequila Rose correctly, and Mike, aka Tupid, now infamous for once mistaking a rum for a whiskey.
Yep.
And this week we've got Libby Barnby and Seb Burnford Jones on from Let's Go Glasgow.
Can't say Bumford.
Let's go Glasgow. Yeah. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Got to be so careful with not getting people's names wrong these days, otherwise I get, thrown to the wolves.
I mean, I'm permanently listening for every error that you make.
It doesn't look. What I like about this pod is it's so relaxed. You don't feel like you're under any pressure at all.
No. Has he messed up your surname already?
Yeah.
No?
I mean, he
I thought he did.
ruined it. Yeah.
I thought he said Burnford instead of Bunford. But I don't know.
Anyways, let's
worry.
have a little introduction from both of you. So one at a time, please. Don't speak over the top of each other. So with Seb, first time in the pod for you. Proud Brit living in Scotland. You are global marketing manager for Glasgow Distillery.
That's correct. Emphasis on the global, I believe.
Global.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Are you even in the whiskey industry if you haven't got global in the title?
Pitbull got there first. He was Mr. International, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, Mr. Worldwide. So, would you like to just give a short introduction just for our listeners, a bit about yourself, Seb?
Sure, absolutely. I've been working at the Glasgow Distillery for 7 years, and I joined as a marketing executive, and as the company grew alongside it, and my role these days covers all the things involved in marketing, so communications, branding, design, but also all of our kind of looking at our product strategy, releases, and I have a small kind of hand as well in the blending and cask selection side of things. So central kind of role, and if you guys work for small businesses, you'll know that you end up just doing a bit of everything, really.
I was going to say, it does sound like slightly more than just marketing manager. I'm not going to lie there.
It's in a small business, it's impossible to just do one thing. You have to multitask, multi-role. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun though, isn't it? Fast moving and fun.
Exactly. And, the distillery itself has changed so much since I've been there. It's gone through so many iterations. When I joined, we had 2 gins, and now we've got a whole kind of portfolio of different spirits and obviously the single malts too. And a huge growing market of different distributors and different markets that we're working in. So it's brilliant. Yeah, I really love it.
And it's yourself that was instrumental in getting rid of the 50 cl bottles. Is that right, or is that just a rumor?
Because Libby's claimed that it's her. She's claimed that she's responsible for that.
Yeah, she claims that even though she wasn't at the distillery at the time when we made that decision.
Look, history will be as you write it or tell it, according to Libby. So
Indeed. She's had an easy ride in a way coming in after we moved into the larger bottles, so she's not been through the pain.
I want to come if not.
On that, Libby, welcome to the pod again. People might have listened to an episode before with yourself and Paul Main. You came on previously, but this time you're coming on repping for Glasgow, which is very cool. Official, a fish. So would you like to give yourself a little introduction for our listeners? Oh, wait, so Libby is working marketing exec for Glasgow Distillery as well, part of the team.
Did you say global marketing executive or just
global marketing executive?
Or just normal? Okay.
Yeah, there is no global in front of my job title, unfortunately.
Soon though.
Yeah, soon. Who knows? We'll see.
You've only got to go to a couple other countries.
Well, November I'll be going to abroad for
Wales.
the first time with the distillery. Not quite.
Wales.
No, actually, there is a Wales Whiskey Festival on the same
we're
day.
going.
When I recant to people how many countries you've been to or where have you been to, I always say Wales or Scotland. They count. They're different countries.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to Denmark in November, so I'll be global then. Anyway, I'm basically Seb's right-hand man. Anything that Seb was getting too tired of doing when I moved in, he gave to me. So social media, I like to kind of describe it as communications, both on screen and in person. So website, social media, working with our PR agency and getting stories out and stuff, and then also standing pouring lots and lots of whiskey across mainly Scotland the past year or so. But yeah, it's nearly been 2 years since I've been at Glasgow now, which is pretty mad. So Yeah, just again, as you said, as Seb was saying, you a little bit of everything. You know, I got set up with our latest courier and stuff like that. You know, it's a bit of logistics and stuff, and you just kind of help where you can. Small team. There's only about 5 of us in the office, so we kind of just bounce off each other and. Yeah, just help where we can. So yeah.
Who answers the phone? Who out of interest? Who answers the? If I call in, because you know when you call up a distillery, sometimes I always wonder about this. Who you're going to get on the phone? Like, because most of them are smallish teams.
Yeah.
Even the bigger ones. Who answers the phone most of the time?
You'll
in the office,
get
then?
Alison. Alison's the one that's like next to the phone. But if Alison's not in, it tends to be me that jumps to the phone or Seb. So it'd be me, Seb, or Alison.
Yeah.
Alison's kind of works in logistics, and she's very much the rock at the heart of the distillery.
Absolutely.
So any time stuff goes anywhere, she's the person you speak to.
Whilst you're doing this, you should just shout out your team.
Yeah.
You should shout them out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we've got Alison in logistics. We've got Graham, who's our operations manager. We've got
legend.
Yeah. Ashley in accounts. She's the accounts department, and that's us.
Who buys the most biscuits then? From the who's most generous with the snacks, bringing them into the office?
Ashley's like drawers are full of like Maryland's mini cookies, like
desk drawers.
Thank you for clarifying that there, Seb. I was concerned people might misconstrue that. Ashley's desk drawers, the drawers in her desk.
Sorry, I forgot who was speaking
full.
To there for
They're
a second.
brimming.
Yeah. She brings in a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Who makes the most brews?
Oh, it's between me and Seb. I'd probably. I think Nathan makes it the most, or
probably, yeah.
You can just because you're in marketing, you can just say you're being creative and you need a moment to yourself just to think through this cool idea you just came up with, and then, hey, I'll just make you guys a cup of tea whilst I'm thinking of this.
Somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning, either I'll go to Seb coffee, or Seb will go to me coffee, and then that's just how it happens, really.
Yeah, it depends who's the most tired that day.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff today, but before we do, we're going to ask you what's been in your glass the last few days and what's been up your arse, what's been annoying you. So let's start with our first-time podder, Seb. What's been in your glass and what's been up your arse, what's been annoying you, Seb?
Well, in my glass, right here, is a lovely little Craigellachie 13, which I picked up from auction, last auction, so about a month ago. Really nice kind of summery dram. Nice, super easy drinking, very honeyed. It's got this big, like a little bit of funk to it as well, which is quite lovely.
Ooh.
It's really nice whiskey. Really enjoying this.
So you've got the auction bug as well then?
Yeah. Well, living in Glasgow, it's quite easy to pop to the Scotch whisky auctions. You know,
no postage fees. The no postage fee crew.
That's it.
I would have so much cheap whiskey, just like
same.
Take risks on so many cheap bottles.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to then pay £400 to get it delivered to my house.
But hey, £400 plus damage protection.
Yeah.
To be fair.
You've got to have insurance on insurance on insurance.
Stick another 2.5% on top of that.
And then public liability for postie. So yeah.
Your bottle might break and we are most definitely not responsible for it. And you're like, oh God, it probably won't break, but just in case. Yeah. All right, so you're having a dram you bought from auction. And what's been annoying you this last week? Or if you want to be, all positivity and light, feel free to share something which has been
Sure. Well, I'm in a pretty good place at the moment. Everything's going well. I'm in a good mood. But what I would say is I've picked a summery dram, trying to manifest a bit of sun in Glasgow. Yeah. And so if there's one thing, it is the state of this summer at the moment, I would have to say. It's particularly miserable.
Not been the best, has it, to be fair?
No. But if I keep buying summery whiskies, maybe it'll
Fingers crossed.
You're good at okay. You're manifesting it, like you said. You're trying to bring summer to life.
It's definitely a Scottish thing. I've had to go out and buy air conditioning units because it's been so bloody hot.
Oh, shut up!
Can you get those off the solar? Can you get them off the solar panel, Mike?
Not yet. No, sadly not.
My someone messaged me during the week and went, where are these kettles that you can charge with batteries?
Yeah.
I was so happy with myself.
Like, leave it out.
I was so happy.
It's really hard to think and talk at the same time as you're moving through the pod sometimes. Bear with us, people.
Forget charging your glasses.
Yeah.
Charge your kettles.
Do you think the thing is, Mike, I got it wrong 3 times in rehearsal as well. I mean, we rehearsed it, 3 times, that whole episode? Yeah.
To be fair, it would have been glossed over had you not then argued your point, which is so good. It was, yeah.
I'm always willing to die on a hill.
It was the Brian all over again.
I have to say, Ashley Miller was the first to point out that it's not tequila rosé, it's tequila rose.
Tequila Rose.
Yeah. Thanks, Ashley.
Thanks, Ash.
It sounds better as rosé, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
If I was out on the
Totally.
lash, I'd call it tequila rosé, not tequila rose. I'm just saying. Yeah. Libby, what about yourself? What's been in your glass and what's been up your ass? What's been annoying you this week? What have you been drinking?
I don't know if you saw this time last week, I was at the Glasgow Whisky Club, and we had a pretty awesome lineup, which we're very often spoilt. From that, there was Dram of the Night was a Ardbeg bottle, which was been made with Golden Promise barley, which is supposedly like a really like it gives like a really oily, juicy, nice whiskey. Don't really know much about it because I've never used it.
Yeah.
But apparently, according to the guy that kind of spoke about it, just says it does like extra things to it. So it was exclusively bottled for the Good Spirits Company, who are just a retailer in Glasgow. They've got a couple of shops around Glasgow. It's ex unpeated Oloroso sherry butt, which kind of seems to be some of my favourite finishes at the moment are Oloroso, whether it be peated or unpeated. Just seems to be like, which is weird because the actual sherry Oloroso I don't really like. I much prefer PX.
Yeah.
Delicious stuff is PX. I'm like inches away from buying a bottle just to drink. But yeah, Oloroso whiskies just seem to be my thing. And then very recently bought a cocktail shaker to try and do some cocktails in this gorgeous weather that we're not having.
To remember what it's like to be mid-20s and be discovering cocktails. It's just a whole new world, isn't it? Just cocktail shaker, and you know now you're buying all random cocktail ingredients. You're coming to off and you go, I got some blackcurrant cassis.
I'm
I
heading
look forward
towards
to the Instagram
daiquiri.
videos.
It's lots of fun, isn't it? It's lots of fun. So you've got yourself a proper cocktail shaker.
Yeah, proper cocktail shaker. I'm heading towards a daiquiri. I want to make myself a daiquiri. But Saturday night, I have some Chambord in the house because Christmas is quite often French martinis in my family's house. So I had vodka, I had Chambord, so all I had to buy was pineapple juice. So we made some French martinis. So French martinis, Ardbeg and Golden Promise whiskey has been in my glass.
I love the fact that in that cocktail, the only ingredient you didn't have was the non-alcoholic one. So I had to go and buy pineapple juice. Do you have I had all the booze, yeah.
All the booze, of course.
Just missing the pineapple juice.
And actually, I'd just like to put a note out that it wasn't just any old vodka, it was absolute vodka as well, like the fancy stuff. Like, really good.
That's pretty good.
Anyway,
I think on the vodkas, every time I try a vodka from like a whiskey distillery or someone, whether it's that, what was that, Cardona one? Cardona? Or the New Zealand one?
New Zealand.
Yeah.
But I tried a couple of other ones. We tried one, I think, every time I try one from whiskey distillery, it's always mind-blowingly good vodka. Like, I'm just saying.
It's because they try and have some flavour in there rather than just absolutely strip everything out. But
that'd be my tip. If I was buying vodka, I'd probably buy it from
have you tried our vodka?
like a whiskey distillery.
Did you try it?
I don't know if I tried vodka from Glasgow.
Yeah, we've had it previously. What's the name on it? Is it like
G52?
G52.
I feel like, did you maybe try it?
Is it on an old tweet tasting?
Yeah, it could have been one of the older ones, quite a while back.
I feel like we did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we did a few.
Probably 5.
Aye, we did a kind of selection of the different spirits we make at Glasgow. But yeah, these are the ones we make are botanical vodkas. So we distill them similar to the way we make gin. So we distill with fresh botanicals, fresh fruit, things like that. So it's a clear vodka, but it's got all this natural flavour, which is quite good.
I like the that's good that you do that because I think there's a Polish one that uses like a certain type of, they say it's bison grass or something, but really impacts the flavour. So yeah, love it. It's decent.
I think bison grass is definitely a Polish vodka. Yeah.
Up my ass has been kind of the weather, and like both sides because like last weekend, last Thursday and Friday we were in Edinburgh and it was red hot, like really really hot. And see when you're walking around with whiskey, like either on your back or something, it's just really not very nice. But then also today it's been absolute like horrendous rainstorms, which is not good either. And then also potentially would be the amount of people in Edinburgh right now.
There we go.
Like,
people invading space,
walking
getting
up
all up in
the
getting
Royal
all up in
Mile
your
is
personal
just
space.
people. It's just not nice.
Of course, they're in Edinburgh for the famous comedy festival, the Edinburgh Sideburn.
Yep, that's it.
Seb, did someone just hand you an old school note instead of texting you?
Yeah.
What's going on in your house? I'd have texted you. Someone's handed you a piece of paper with writing on it.
This is
I'm
old school.
I'm
But they can still
expecting
remember
you
how
set
to
that
write.
on
It's
fire.
incredible.
That's a secret message that cannot be.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
My poor neighbour's locked himself out of his house, so...
You sent
Right.
a telegram.
Yeah, well, no, my wife was just updating me on the situation.
Oh.
Which is
I
very
love
nice.
Mike, what's been in your glass and what's been up your ass?
What's been in my glass has been a lot of Jura. So yeah, I've been drinking a tasting by PS Whiskey of a load of sort of older single cask Juras, and yeah, they were actually, unsurprisingly, some decent ones, but also some utter dross. So hopefully,
Hit and
like
miss.
I said, we checked with Kieran, Jura's going in the direction they should be, doing better single casks, older stuff with higher ABVs, which is good. Pick of the night, I had a 2001 19-year-old sherry butt cask. I think it was cask 1708. Keep an eye out for it at auctions. 110 quid PS Whiskey got it for, and that was a 5 out of 5 if we were doing blind drams. Absolutely stunning whiskey.
Right.
Nice.
So yeah, that was my pick.
What was say the cast number again?
1708.
1708.
Yeah,
Okay.
decent. Keep an eye out for that one. You can go back and review hashtag PS Whiskey if you want to see which ones I thought were shite and which ones are good. Other than that, what has been up my arse this week is my frail body. I've actually managed to get the bike out, mountain bike, and do a grand total of 3K on the mountain bike. I thought I was going to die. My heart rate went up
basically
to
to the
100
local shops.
180. I was genuinely
that's bad.
right, I need to watch this. That's the first exercise I've done in 10 months. As much as I had the endorphin kick and it was amazing to be out and about, for the last 2 days, I can't move.
Wow.
So I need to probably
But at least
ease back.
Look, at least you did it. That's what matters. So
I wouldn't just road racing. I went on a trail, like down some decent hills and stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Like it wasn't just things.
You went proper
Yeah,
bicycling.
yeah. Obviously, like
Mountain
an idiot,
bike,
just
yeah.
all out and yeah. So I set myself back, but I've had a dose of reality as to where I physically am. So,
But that would have been
in regards-
bumpy. That can't have been good. I would have gone for a smooth
Exactly,
road
yeah.
first. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, do you know what else is up my ass? We've forgotten the episode title again.
that's all right. We'll just do it
So
after this.
we are episode 65, and it is Tokaji the New with Glasgow Distillery.
Very good.
Thank you.
I love it.
That is all that's been at my arse. Other than that, I'm all good and life is wonderful. And like I said, sunny down in Kent. So yeah, I've been having a little wee smile. I've watched near 24/7 Olympic coverage. That has made my sort of world flow so nicely. I've had something to
Ooh.
concentrate on.
I actually watched some at the pub yesterday.
Did you?
I watched some of the sprinting and some of the high jumping. That was it, I think. It
I was
good.
watching sailing, just in a sort of nod to Luke. It was on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's hard work. I still don't quite understand some of the sailing stuff. They all seem to go off in different directions and then come together. But yeah. And I'm also still convinced I could play handball to an Olympic standard. Having never
To an
played.
Olympic- Not
Yeah.
just play handball, but you've never played, to be clear.
Never played.
But to an Olympic standard.
Think I could play to an Olympic standard.
Yeah.
Happy to be challenged. GB
And-
Handball Association, bring it.
If you do manage that, there'll definitely be a movie made about you. Mike, who they thought he'd never walk again. And
Yeah.
then he started learning handball in his 40s.
yeah.
And then he won the Olympics at 46.
By the time the
47.
next one comes around, it'll be yeah. I figure I've had like enough experience playing dodgeball in the States, so I'm pretty much there. It looks like a similar game to me.
They'll have a VT of you saying, recanting the time when you went for a 3K cycle ride post-op and your
Yeah.
heart rate was 180. This for you going, I didn't think I was going to live. And then I
Yeah.
just started playing handball.
Yeah.
We should do a cheers, by the way. Have a cheers and a little screenshot.
I've got 2 glasses here. So
Yeah, and I have to do a sort of reach thing with my hand. Okay, cheers, Slanger. I think I've pressed the wrong one. Try again. So bad at technology. So bad. I'll do one more because last time I looked like I was some sort of crazy, weird Chinese doll. Okay. Myself, I
Yes,
have...
what have you been drinking,
Thank
Duncan?
you
And
for
what's been up
asking
your
me,
arse?
Mike. It's so nice
It's
of
all
you.
right.
I'll keep it quick. I had some Rye River IPA. Sav sent, a listener sent, I've won 2 competitions in the last month and I haven't won any other competitions, I feel like, in my life.
Yep.
Sav tagged me in some sort of distillery thing, and they said they'd give whoever 2 4-packs of beer. So Sav had one. He lives in Ireland, and the legend only got these 4 Rye River IPAs over to London and then posted to me. So I drank them all yesterday when they turned up immediately.
That's cool.
In the evening. And he also sent some vegan snacks. That was great. And he sent also...
He sent you some dust.
Rassay Chinkapin Oak single cask unpeated.
Ooh, very nice.
#19 over 544. And it's decent. 5 years old. He was claiming it's one of the best whiskies he's ever had.
Nice.
I'm not going to go that far. But
one of those Duras was in Chinkapin, and I sort of said at the time, it tastes like, every time I've had it, and I've had the Rassay ones before, you could easily tell me that was a Canadian whiskey. And it tastes like sort of right.
It's kind of bold and wild. I might
super sweet.
I might try it again after I've had the Tokai cask from Glasgow Distillery. It's in my glass, which I've got now. And other than that, I opened up a firm pod favourite, the Cutty Sark Prohibition, which I bought this time. Yeah, which I bought this time for my father-in-law.
Yeah.
And I was there, and obviously I opened it up, and I poured myself about a 10 for the bottle, then handed the rest to him and proceeded to drink it. And he said, "Where is this? Where do I get it? This is the best whiskey you've brought round."
That's cool.
Yeah. You brought some stunning stuff as well.
No, well, yeah. I mean, like, it's just, what is it? Like toffee, vanilla, black pepper. It's great. He doesn't want something to be too complex. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to bring up that particular bottle because you posted something on social media, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did. You posted a very nice picture with a Morris Minor manual in the background, and it was all framed, and I was like, "Oh, Duncan's done a wanky picture." So
that's because
you've done like Treetop S for if a 60-year-old man was going to do like an influencer image, you've done it right there.
So his dining room table is just covered in car manuals at the moment because he's had loads of cars in his past. And he kept all the manuals, and he's deciding which ones to sell on eBay. He likes to sell stuff on eBay. He likes to get rid of things. And so that was just one that was kicking around on the table, and the colours worked. What I was going to say is what's been up my arse is I've shaved off a third of my eyebrow. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, it is very short.
Very noticeable, yeah. So my eyebrows are just a bit wild, and I have to sort of I don't do much. Just when I'm shaving my cheeks and my neck, I'll just get rid of that bit. It's a bit wild. And I must have just gone a bit far. And so I've got to live with sort of a weird... eyebrow.
Slightly Ming the Merciless.
You should have gone like full out and just like done it like David Beckham style sort of thing, and like, do you know what I mean?
It's lines.
Put a line. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's already quite noticeable. I'm not sure I want to make it more noticeable.
Were you tempted to try and even it up on the other side?
No, that went through my mind, and then that's when stuff goes really wrong.
Yeah, because then you'll go a bit too far on that side, and then you'll be going back to the other side,
and then you end up drawing your eyebrows off before you know it.
Save it for the YouTube live. We will do it. You can trim them on air, and then we can just see.
That's an announcement, Mike. We've
did it get slipped in there?
Yeah, go on then. So what are we going to organise then? Once a month, apparently.
So we're thinking once a month we'll do a YouTube live so everyone can join in, have a bit more interaction with us. We'll recant the last 4 podcast episodes, assuming we've put 4 out in the month, and just have a little drink up with people. So what we've drunk over the pods, any new bottles we've had, maybe dig out some old ones, because you mentioned Glenelg. I went to I was looking at a cask strength one, and I literally looked in the cupboard and went, dum. I had a brand new one, which I've taken 1 dram out of. I was like, I was just about to buy that. So, I figure start raiding the storage cupboards, and then we can just do that live.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Nice. We just need to decide on what day of the week to do it once a month. So
maybe do it like Monday at 11 p.m. after we've recorded a podcast and had a few drinks anyway.
Yeah. Let's be the only whiskey podcast to do a YouTube live late morning, 11:30. Let's get the hardcore crew in. The lunchtime crew.
Your palate's at his best.
like lunch drams with donuts and two-foods. You know you want to.
We'll call it.
It's a Friday. You weren't going to work in the afternoon anyway. Get on it. Yeah.
Spoon's breakfast. That could be the
live from Spoons.
The YouTube live.
Yeah. And then every time they come round, we have to hide the bottle of whiskey that we snuck in from the table and put it under.
Seb, Libby, Ashley with the cookies and Seb, making drams, answering the phone, putting cookies in
you so much for coming today and obviously giving us a couple of samples to try, which we really appreciate. I'm going to get around to talking about those. One of the things I find fascinating about Glasgow Distillery is the 3 types of spirit, right? I mean, also I love the price points, to be clear. But we wanted to just hear a bit more, especially for listeners, because with all of these newer distilleries, although you're not really that new now. I mean, what, you're like 7, 8 years old, is it? Something older?
Our oldest whiskey is 9 years old in cask.
9 years
now,
old.
Yeah.
So you're like in the, you're getting towards that 10-year point rapidly.
Yeah, March next year.
10 years.
Yeah.
Big plans?
Well, in terms of 10 years, we will have 10-year-old whiskey next year, but there's not going to be much of it at all. In our first year, we didn't fill a huge amount of casks, so I don't think we're going to be touching much of that stock, to be honest.
But you can celebrate being 10 years old, though, can't you? I mean,
of course. We'll certainly sing happy birthday in the warehouse. And
right. Whose snack drawer was it again? Radar snack drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashley snack drawer open, yeah.
Absolutely.
So the 3 types of spirit then, could you talk us through it for listeners and why there's 3 types of spirit and how that affects the whiskey, that gets bottled? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when the original founders of the distillery were looking at what kind of whiskies that they actually want to be put on the market, one thing they didn't want to do was just be constrained by like a region, basically, and just being told, right, well, this is a lowland distillery, so we have to make X. I think the idea from the very beginning was let's be as interesting and make as wide a range of flavours as possible. So they settled on the idea of doing 3 different styles of single malt whiskey production across triple distilled unpeated whiskies to give kind of bright, elegant, quite a delicate style of spirit, to double distilled unpeated, which is quite rich, darker fruit led, and then peated whiskies as well for that smoky element. And so what that means that as one distillery, we're able to produce these like nice, bright, kind of effervescent, lighter styles of whiskey, all the way to these big, smoky, rich, peated ones, and then kind of everything in between when we start playing with marrying casks together of those different styles. So it was really just about having an interesting production story. And also the name, the Glasgow Distillery, taken from the original Glasgow Distillery Company, who were founded in the year 1770. And who were one of the biggest whiskey distilleries in the world for quite a long time. They actually used to make those 3 styles of spirit as well. So they used to do a bit of triple distillation and a bit of peated whiskey alongside.
So you really brought back the heritage then in that. Okay. Right.
Yeah, kind of just a celebration of Glasgow's whiskey heritage and its connection with whiskey throughout the ages, and very much trying to, whilst celebrating history, try and do something and push a bit more contemporary, modern methods in there too.
From a nerdy perspective, I find it fun when I'm trying a Glasgow finish, one of the small batches or something, to try to guess which one or which ones of the spirits have gone into it, whether it's the peated, the triple distilled, or the original.
Yeah, the original is kind of the bottling name of what our double distilled unpeated core is. But those 3 core range bottles that we produce, triple distilled, peated, and the original, they celebrate those 3 different styles of production. And then I like to think of the small batch series as kind of celebrating cask influence. So if you think the core range celebrates spirit creation, the small batch series celebrates cask influence with all those range of different finishes across those 3 styles we do.
It does give you a really good level of flexibility. And whether it's a single cask or small batches that you're putting out, I was really surprised. I'm trying this cognac this evening, which I think has got some peat in it, right?
Yeah.
The last cognac that I tried was unpeated. I think it was the triple distilled that went into that.
Yep.
And it was much more biscuity.
More malty, yeah.
Malty, yes. Much more malty than a cognac cask would usually be, which was really interesting. Right? It had less of the kind of raisin grape notes and more of that kind of biscuitiness was coming through. And so it made it a really interesting cognac cask. And that was what really stood out in my mind, is how important the spirit choice was and what had gone in with the, what was probably a 3-year cask finish or something, maybe 3 and 3 or something like that, or 3 and 2. Yeah, and just how much influence it had on it. And that was the one where I really noticed it the most, I think, that the triple distilled spirit coming through.
Yeah. So triple distilled is a bit more kind of like malty and cereal led. And these 3 different styles of production that we're making, they're not just the fact that one's gone through a still an extra time and one's using peated malt. It's different cut points when we're capturing the hearts that end up becoming our new mixed spirit that goes into the casks. And these cut points have a big effect on the flavour and the kind of profile and the mouth structure of a whiskey. So our triple distilleds, not to get too deep into it, but the triple distilleds get cut very high. So it's much more kind of citrusy, a bit more cereally, and that kind of lighter, much smoother, effervescent style. And then the peateds are cut super, super low. So that's why it's much waxier and oilier across the mouthfeel as well. So you're right, they give you totally different experiences and textures. And when we're in the distillery, what we're finding is when we're buying things like specialty casks, like these Tokai casks or these cognac casks, we'll fill some of those casks. If we get a parcel of, say, like 12 casks, we'll split that into 3. And we'll fill some of them with peated whiskey, some of them peated, some with triple. And after a couple of years, trying them side by side, they're like,
really
as you would expect, they're totally different.
Yeah.
That's quality.
Yeah, you've really had kind of a range of finishes, really. And I think, well, you've given us 2 to try today, which we've been trying. So maybe now's a good time to talk a bit about those. And then we wanted to hear from you after that, what your favourite finish on, what's been most popular with people, other than the famous one. But other than that one, the pedestal one, other than that one, which ones have been really, really popular? So, Mike, we've both tried these whiskies, haven't we? So, by the way, I love the. This is going to be a bit fanboy, but I really like the actual branding for Glasgow 1770 on the website and stuff. I often look. I'm a bit. I don't know about you, Mike, but I'm really into I like branding that looks like it's classic. It's going to, classic modern, but it's going to stand the test of time a bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I get.
Do it right, do it once.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then just change it a little bit in 3 to 5 years, but spend a fortune with a marketing company to tell you that it was already really good.
Yeah. We spend a lot of time on, trying to make sure that the look and feel is great. And the way we kind of think of it is if your packaging can make people buy your product once, but the proof's in the juice at the end of the day, and for them to buy it again and become fans, it has to also stand
But
out.
it is a big part of it. How it looks and feels sitting on your table does play a part.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Libby will attest. Constantly cutting out labels from like prints that I'm running off the printer and trying them on bottles, seeing different designs and stuff.
Oh, really?
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's something that gets mentioned a lot. Is the customers do say they really like the bottle, really like the design. It's something that kind of stands out from customer feedback, which is good to hear.
Anything that makes something stand out on a shelf.
Big time.
Happy days.
So these 2 new bottles, there's a Tokai cask finish and a cognac cask finish. They're both brand new and they're both out at the moment. We've been trying them. The Tokai immediately. I mean, Mike, you were saying you were doing some tasting notes earlier. The
nose on this Tokai is outstanding.
It's quite tropical, fruity, right?
Tropical,
mango.
To me, it's like the old tinned fruit cocktail you used to have as a kid.
Yeah.
With buckets of squirty cream in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Still biscuity though. I find it still kind of. So that's what I was going to ask. What's the base spirit for this one?
So this is our double distilled unpeated style. So
unpeated.
It's basically the original, but the original's finished in virgin oak after about 3.5 years in first fill bourbons. But instead of going into that virgin oak, we've put it into these cognac casks for 3.5 years. So this one has a 6-year-old age statement. It's been pointed out to us a few times that we're calling it a cognac, a finish, Tokai finish, but it's more than half of its life has actually been in that second. So it's more of a secondary maturation, sure. But for me,
secondary maturation.
This is like liquid honey.
We're getting full on geeky today.
So good.
Yeah.
I just want to live in this nose. I said it earlier, the nose on this dram is absolutely
liquid honey for me.
Transcendent.
Yeah.
I think it's so
more than
different.
just the fruit. It's kind of rich and full and somewhere between floral and fruity, but more on the fruity kind of creamy side.
For me, it's very much like those tinned peaches or tinned pineapple. It's the syrup that you get alongside that. And
syrupy.
Yeah. And the honey element for me, we've put Manuka honey on the label because when we were talking about how honeyed it is, we're saying, well, there's a slight floralness to it. It's quite chewy as well. And then we're thinking, I guess Manuka honey kind of covers those bases.
You definitely get this honey there for sure as well. Yeah, it's really, really great nose. And when you actually sip it, it kind of continues through. Maybe it's slightly drier, fruity and dry, but the nose and the palate there's quite a bit of crossover, which I always think is a good thing.
It's like when you have a really super moist Victoria sponge with jam and getting that in the palate as well. There's just so much going on there. That is a massive
I think it's really different from the
me.
batch one of the unpeated that we did. The batch one Tokai unpeated was kind of almost my entry into Glasgow Distillery. We were releasing them just as I was joining, so that was kind of the first thing that kind of got me excited about these cask finishes and stuff was the Tokai. And I remember sitting in front of the telly with this 58.1% whiskey, just sipping it because it was so easy to drink and really sweet and ice and sugar sweet.
Yeah.
The kind of the sugar that you get off marshmallows when you open a bag of marshmallows, like that kind of sweet. And I just think that this is like so different to that. Like, I think the nose is fairly similar. There is that sweetness there, but the palate is very, very different. And it's just really interesting to see. Obviously, no cask is the same, but what that extra time has done.
I think when we were creating this blend, so this is 4 casks that are vatted together to create this release, 1,300 bottles. And we had one of them was a 2016 cask, and the other 3 casks in there are 2017s. And the 2016 just had a much richer, darker profile. So the single cask that Libby's referring to was much more kind of like a high level kind of sugary quality, but that one quarter of what's in here of that older cask was just much more tannic and richer. And I think Libby's totally right. It's much more balanced final product.
I mean, Tokai is one that definitely puts its imprint on the whiskey. I mean, like they all do a bit, but like all the Tokais I've tried, or Tokaji.
I was hoping you were going to say Tokaji Cognac.
Yeah.
Right, we hear that a lot. Oh,
yeah,
use that Japanese Tokaji cask.
Yeah,
Tokaji. If you're going to do an advert, Tokaji sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
So it's always quite a bit different. You know, like Amarone or something. Like it has its own unique vibe, right? Whatever it's being put to. So it makes it interesting. So if people haven't tried a Tokai cask, it's definitely something to go out, or a whiskey which has had time in a Tokai cask, whether that's a finish or a secondary maturation like this. Definitely worth giving a go. There was a Murray David Kalila a while back that I tried.
Yeah,
that was just wacky.
That.
It was like grapefruit and Rivita, and there's all kinds of weird stuff going on in it. Really different to a usual Kalila, just because the Tokai cask was just working some kind of weird magic.
There's a few out there. There's Milk and Honey just did a Tokai cask, and the guys at Lag have just done a distillery exclusive Tokai release too, which is quite
controversial.
Well, we talked about it before.
It's probably worth mentioning what Tokai actually is, just in case some people don't know. So it's not a Japanese word. It is a Hungarian sweet wine.
Super sweet wine.
I got picked up on this actually by the master blender at Angus Dundee, because I was describing like what I thought like happened to the Tokai grapes in the region. There's a particular type of like fungus that gets to the grapes called noble rot, and what that noble rot does is it feeds on the water inside the grape so that they become super concentrated and raisined basically, so that you're getting a super, super sweet dessert white wine from the grape.
But Libby, you do know that in the early 1600s, a Japanese fellow called Hiroshima Takamatato, he travelled over to Hungary, and he created the drink, and he actually called it Tokaji. But over time, they changed it to Tokai because instead that was more Hungarian.
Well, you learn something new every day. I did not know
their
that.
Own country. Anyway, Egészségedre. Cheers to all the Hungarians listening to the pod.
I like how you fucked up the Hungarian element of that, and not the actual.
Egészségedre.
Egészségiboo.
Yeah, so okay, that's cool. Thanks for explaining that to people. I mean, it's a super sweet dessert wine. Oh, like a lot of the dessert wines that you may or may not enjoy on their own are just really interesting when you apply them to a whiskey for a few years. And sometimes you go the other way, like the one that we're always joking about, like Sauterne. I love that, actually just drinking the actual drink. But I'm less keen on it when applied to whiskies for some reason. Just depends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, of all these cask finishes, I mean, that you've done and secondary maturations, what have been people's favourites over the last few years? That's what we're dying to know. What's gone down really well or up? Why would it go down? What's been really popular?
It's gone down well. That's a saying.
You're right. It's a saying, but it sounds negative, doesn't it? Good things go up, not down.
What's gone up well?
Yeah, what's gone up well?
Well, we did have a peated Sauterne that went really well. People loved it, and it was brilliant. I still get people
not me.
asking
I
me for
didn't
that.
try that one, but yeah. So that was popular. Peated Sauterne.
You had the obvious, massive, legendary
Manzanilla.
one
Yes,
that was the Manzanilla.
The Manzanilla was very, very popular.
And then it's always a difficult second album after that, isn't it? After people have eulogized something.
Yeah, but that wasn't from that series. I remember doing the tequila and the Calvados.
Yep.
Top of my head.
Oh, that Calvados was good.
Calvados was good. Tequila was good. But yeah, they were both out there. And you have just, like you said, been hitting them home. I
made a note to say when I went round to my mates who I haven't told about Glasgow, who only has like 5 to 8 bottles of whiskey. That's all he'd ever have, maximum. Okay, and one of the bottles he had open was the tequila cask from Glasgow.
Wow,
and I was like, "How have you got that?" I was like, "Did I tell you about that?" And he's like, "No, I just really like tequila, so my wife got me this tequila bottle." So it just goes to show. Sometimes, he's a big tequila fan.
Yeah. It's
So
a great one for festivals, the tequila casks, because it gets people over, it gets them engaged. It's a bit like we did a collaboration with Innocent Gun, so we did like a beer cask finish with them, and that's always one that, if people who are newer to the category or whatever, they're like, oh, well, I like beer, I understand beer, let's see how it works with whiskey, as opposed to, maybe everyone's tried cognac or Tokaji and things like that, so it's a bit more kind of esoteric out there.
Yeah, you've had a bunch, haven't you? So between the 3 types of spirit and then the variety of different casks you put them in for the special editions or the small batches, there's quite the range. Is there anything that you are itching to try or you're waiting to come out, in the wings?
Well, we've got some really, really good peated releases coming out later this year. So we've got 3 new small batch releases, which we're just finished working on at the moment. Just decided to finally.
Can you tease what they are?
Well, they're peated.
They're 3 peated ones. I guess that's all I should say, to be honest. But they're brilliant, and we're looking forward to them. But what's something I'm really looking forward to doing in the future, and the casks aren't quite ready yet because we sampled them recently, was actually using some of our own Banditti Club rum casks.
Yes. So, that's cool.
Kind of cross-pollinating the brands together, maybe doing some kind of collaboration on the branding, going across the bottles or something. So really excited for that. It's taken a while for those to come through. So hopefully,
because that's good rum as well.
Glad you like it.
Really like that. Yeah.
Well, speaking about peated, it's probably a good segue to talk about the cognac cask, which is lightly
cognac.
Cognac, yeah, it's lightly peated.
I actually did a tasting with this, like a pre-release with the Bonaccord Whiskey Club, and one of someone who's quite a fan of our whiskies was like, it doesn't taste like peated whiskey. Like, it doesn't have that same style. And I was like, that's exactly the point.
So, I had to really, I was like, is this peated? Isn't it peated?
Yeah, so 3 unpeated casks, 2 peated casks. And the idea is to have that kind of fruity essence of the unpeated, new make that we do, the original, but to have this essence of smoke through it as well. So it's a fruity, sweet release with a smoke rather than a peaty smoke. And our peated whiskey is fairly kind of sweet smoke anyway. So this kind of just gentle simmer of whiff of smoke.
It kind of steers toward an alligator char. So you've got super heavy char, and it's kind of on that sort of path.
The standard peated one is sort of kind of that sweet barbecue sauce type vibe, isn't it? A bit. Not only that, but and when people try it, they're like, "Wow, this is amazing!" Right? They get a real strong reaction to it because it's quite unique. And you get just the ever such the hint of that in there, but it's just right in the background. It's got that kind of meatiness to it.
It really kind of shows what you can do with these 3 different styles. The way I like to describe it is all distilleries have the power of casks, but we have this extra power, I like to use the word power, of these 3 different distillates. And Seb has said, you get the really light, really creamy, really fruity with the triple distilled, which brings out those light, creamy, fruity flavours from that specific cask. For example, the cognac that you were previously talking about. And, if you bring some peat into there, you're going to get the really peaty, heavier, oilier, tannic notes from that cask. So the fact that you can then start playing about with that as well by putting unpeated and peated, or for example, going back to our red wine and ruby port that we did with the triple distilled and the peated. Again, it's kind of playing around with it. And I remember seeing, I think it was Simon, Whiskey Novice, that did a review on the red wine ruby port, and he was like,
right.
I was trying to see if I could taste the triple distilled and the peated, if I could figure it out. And I think he said that he could, but it's quite cool that, you can see the difference in there. And kind of going back to the Manza Miller as well. Obviously that was unpeated. There wasn't any peated in there, but it was the ex-peated cask. And I definitely think that was almost smokier than this is.
There's two things I want to say here. One, like 100%, we're going to end up playing "I Have the Power" from He-Man. Do you remember He-Man? You talking about the power that you have, you wielding the 3 types of spirit. But the other thing is, I reckon if you put 3 whiskies together blind for people and you didn't tell them what they were, I'm serious now. One of them was whatever. One of them was this peated cognac. Okay, this 1 cask out of 4 peated, lightly peated, 3 unpeated in the mix. And you chucked in Springbank 10, I reckon only very few people would be able to pick out the difference. Because it's fruity, it's lightly peated, it's quite similar. I'm not saying it's the same, right? But what I'm saying is blind, it might catch a few people out. So if I had to say, it's one of those whiskies where someone said to me, I can't hold a Springbank 10, I'd be like, try this peated cognac. Now I've tried it, I'd be like, try this peated cognac. I could go and get it from the cupboard, put it side by side, and it's the same ballpark. Now I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I'm not saying it's got the coastalness or whatever, but it's the same kind of ballpark. It's one of those ones that, I'm not saying it has to be the same, but it's basically a really nicely balanced, ever so slightly peated whiskey with fruitiness, bit of smoke, right?
Yeah.
And a bit of something extra going on in it, right?
I get a bit of Chinese sweet and sour, which I always love when you've got like a little whiskey in there
Been
as well.
compared to Campbelltown whiskies before, haven't we, Seb? I'm pretty sure it was the guys from Dram first.
Yeah, especially the new make, the double distilled unpeated new make is often described as being quite like rich, and it's got this kind of
on the
slight
nose.
funk
You
that
do get a
people
hint
say.
of it.
I'm gonna have to go and pour a 10 now.
Yeah, I could do that as well, actually. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it in the glass. I'll put a top on it, and I'll grab a bit of 10 in a wee bit. Now, we've got a Dragon's Den style pitch for you two. Right, so we come up we come up through the lift, sweaty palms, sweaty foreheads. This is the pitch of a lifetime, and we've come up with a business idea for the whiskey market. What it is we've developed a range of glasses, Glencairns, obviously not exactly like a Glencairn because you're not allowed to do that. It's trademarked in it, but very similar. Capitas, tumblers, but when you pour the whiskey in them, it shows you on the side digitally what the ABV is. And as you pour whiskey in the glass, the ABV changes to its correct ABV. And we did this because we're scientist geniuses.
We can't explain the science, but the science exists.
Actually, to be fair, it was another one where we met those aliens at the pot still, and they gave us the patents for stuff that's going to happen in the future. So, we're looking for, 50 grand to get this business. We've already developed it, but we need to, buy loads of stock and put it in our bedrooms and then go out and market it. So we also need to come up with a name for it. I haven't thought of that yet, but probably should have done. What say you? Do you want to invest in our digital display accurate ABV glass?
Well, my first question is why? Like, why are you doing that?
So, one, you can check the validity of auction purchases.
Oh my days, Mike, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So
it's like a weighing scales type thing.
We can finally see if these exports are just faked. It'll be the first hint that if something you bought is 47, 46%, it's 40, it's faked. If you're adding ice, as some people do to whiskey, you can say, I liked it when it hit this ABV. That's my point. And then you can start maybe sort of moving your other whiskies to that ABV and getting yourselves around it and see where you go.
Yeah.
I guess one of my questions is what's the application of this technology? Could you build it into whiskey bottles themselves? Could you build it into casks themselves? The side of a cask means you don't need to take the sample.
I'd say it'd be dangerous if it was in the bottle, wouldn't it? Because you'd be saying it's 63.4, it'd be sitting on the shelf for 2 years, right? Somewhere. Not your whiskey, someone else's whiskey, some overpriced IB somewhere or something like that. And so the ABV just be going down slightly over time. Or maybe it stay exactly the same, and then you could be like, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or then someone's been stealing your whiskey and topping it with water.
It stops the whole kids' party thing.
I like the idea of
it's the frozen vodka.
But it would also mean like when you think about it, for like when you want to mix down to try something, you could then literally in the glass mix it down to the exact ABV that you wanted just by adding water, and it would just digitally change the reading. Say you had a fantastic Glasgow 1770 single malt Scotch whiskey cognac cask finish batch 02, 58% ABV, but I wanted to dial it back to 50%. I could do it in the glass, right?
I love my whiskies at 51.5%.
Very specific, yeah.
Are we at risk of over analyzing and over kind of engineering?
I'm not saying it's a mass market product. I'm saying there's a nerdy section of society that will like this product.
What's the price of these glasses? Like, if I just have like a classic tumbler, how much am I gonna have to pay to get this?
It's definitely going to be 20 quid, 20 to 30 quid.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
All right. Okay. Yeah. If that
Five quid less than a Norland glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
For 20, 30 quid, I'd probably buy one. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit like just get a hydrometer. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could just do that and just check.
You gotta wash it every time.
But,
you can't.
yeah, it's a good point. So
It's not very good for Instagram, is it? A hydrometer.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I think from
Can't
that
How are
point,
you
TikTok
going to
that.
get a hydrometer up a tree
Yeah.
or next to a Morris Minor? Like,
Yeah.
man,
I think
that's
from
gonna
that
look
point of view,
shit.
I think I'm potentially in. Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm definitely in 100% because it would save us so much hassle in the distillery rather than having to take all the.
Well,
the
here's the
ingredients.
thing.
Just take a glass,
Obviously,
just
the
take a
punters,
glass
they'll
from
pay
the
about
distillery.
£30, but distilleries have to pay a lot more. We'll just find some way of charging more money to them for the same thing. Obviously. Yeah.
usually how
They
it
get the
goes.
after-sales service or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's your best idea to date, Duncan.
You're welcome. Yeah. Have to keep some back for actual ideas. So just to be clear, in case listeners, we haven't actually invented this glass, just to be clear. But if you want to invent this glass, feel free, right?
But you didn't actually tell us how much of the company that we get for that 50 grand. So you've already accepted our offer, but unfortunately, we're
Yeah.
taking
No,
10%.
then it's definitely a no. No, it's the reverse. You're going to get 1% each for 50,000 each. And we're valuing the company at, what would that make it? Like
400 billion, I think.
100,000 times.
Same as Amazon.
You haven't even asked us if we sold
Gotta
anything.
be
We haven't even
across
invented
those
the product yet. Haven't sold a single one. We haven't invented it. It's very early days. I think in real life, they'd definitely be out. They'd say it was a pipe dream. But we can dream, can't we? Right?
This has got potential to be a Kickstarter, though.
Yeah, let's crowdfund it.
Let's do it.
Anyways, we'll take it offline. It's only a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So we are on to a new feature just for you two that we're launching today. So,
Because you're our first repeat visitor, properly.
well, Ben's been on 3 times, but
Ben don't count.
it's true.
Just upping the Scottish people, just making sure you've got more.
Yeah,
And
yes, you
females,
are.
And
Yeah.
females. Yeah.
And female, yeah. Well, we've had more females and more
Yeah,
Scottish
no,
people on of recent. That's true.
It's
Yeah,
pretty good. Well done.
we're trying. Yeah, thank you very much. We had Claire Vokins on, Annabelle Thomas.
That was a great
Two we
episode, by
lost
the way, with
before.
Annabelle. Really, really good.
She's lovely,
It
isn't
was.
she?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, she was super cool.
Also, she
And
swore
she
the
swore
most
more
of
than me.
anybody we've had on. Which,
Yeah.
when we do the annual HTaM Awards, she'll be getting one for potty mouth.
I like
excellent.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've come up with a new thing just for you two, which might become a segment. We'll see how it goes. It's called Hot Pair Balloons.
Step right up to the honest to a malt hot air balloon.
Are there any height
Go on a
restrictions?
journey with ourselves, taking in food and drams from across the land.
What do you mean over 5'8"?
So you're going up and traveling in a hot air balloon around the world. So we want to know what does your hot air balloon look like? What color is it? What design have you got on it? What have you written on the side to tell to the world of your fantastic travels? And more importantly than that, you get to stop in any 3 countries anywhere. And what we want to know is, where are you stopping? What food are you going to have? And more importantly, what whiskey are you going to pair it with? And obviously, it's totally on the table to pair it with Glasgow Whiskey Distillery releases, if you should wish to. So yeah, who's going to take us through their hot pair balloon journey first?
I'll go.
Seb.
Immediately.
So I thought just obviously this would be the best way to conduct tastings and events for the distillery from now on. So we're now going to exclusively just do tours in the hot air balloon and just go from
Like
country
it.
to country that way. Sometimes you see distilleries where they have like a great car or they have like something and they build like a tour out of it. So surely this would be the best way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Hot air balloon, just drop into
Yeah.
every different country,
Technically,
tastings along the
you
way.
could put a mini still inside and it'd be direct fired because you've got the flame.
There
from
you go.
Yeah.
Constant
like it.
fuel source.
Yeah, the direct fired Glasgow hot air
I
balloon.
love it. So if it's not too much of a cop out to say just Glasgow Distillery branded, because that will just be the mode of travel going forward.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you actually do launch something called a hot air balloon, that would be amazing. But we'll keep our fingers crossed,
Absolutely.
because you can't actually you can't do tours yet at the distillery, can you?
No, unfortunately not. It's something we'd love to do. We get lots of requests.
But you could get a hot air balloon outside and take people up, do tastings in that.
To Hillington.
So where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you going to stop, Seb, around the world in your Glasgow Distillery hot air balloon?
So I'm choosing 3 locations. So I guess I'm choosing places where I've had great food, and it's all kind of places I've been and I've had a great food experience. The one that I was at most recently was last year. I did a trip for work to Texas.
Yes.
It was, it was fine for work, no problem. But of course, the best thing about that trip was the barbecue.
Boom.
The barbecue food in Texas
You're
was
talking my
absolutely
language.
insane. And I went to this one barbecue house and I had the best brisket I've ever eaten in just near downtown Dallas. And it's a place called Terry Black's. And everyone always says when we have our peated whiskey, it's like smoky barbecue sauce, or it's quite like meaty.
Yeah.
So it's like a glaze on top of ribs.
Yep.
And I think that would be the perfect pairing. Maybe the 70/70 peated cask strength that we first released last year, and then some brisket from Terry Black's.
Beautiful. Stick that in your digital ABV glass, and you can mix it down a bit and know exactly what you get.
I think
now, when you get to 50%,
that peated cask strength's
Happy
worth
days.
mentioning actually when we were talking about cask finishes.
That's so good.
Like that's just our core range, like PX sherry finish. Do you know what I mean? Like
brush his shoulder off.
6 to 9 months
Yeah.
in a PX sherry cask for our core range, and I think was it about 6 to 9 months for the cask strength?
The finish, yeah. So it's a bit longer than usual. So I think
Yeah,
9-10.
so like pretty much the exact same, and I think that PX finish was just chef's kiss.
PX finish. PX is always great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, pretty much. Unless you go too much, like full maturation, sometimes it can be a little too much in a PX. Depends.
Never go full PX.
So you stopped in Texas. You've got off. You've had some brisket and some peated Glasgow, either the cask strength one or the standard range, or both probably. And then you jump back in the Glasgow Distillery hot air balloon. And where are you travelling to next, Seb?
So I think I'd be coming all the way back the other way, and I'd be going to maybe Florence. And I was in Florence a couple years ago with Rachel, my partner, and we had an amazing trip, had amazing wines, and also I guess it's worth mentioning. Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced that food pairing and whiskey is the best way forward. To be honest.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't want to.
There's definitely
I
elements
don't
of
wanna
that.
shit all
Sometimes it's
over
better,
the
but you can say what you're having. We're just saying if you were having a whiskey with
Yeah.
it, what would you have?
Because it seems kind of sacrilege to be in Florence and then not have red wine, to be honest.
No one's saying you can't have
In
red wine.
Tuscany.
You just gotta stick
Pineapple
whiskey in there.
pizza and whiskey. They'll shoot you.
Well, I tell you what, I'll have red wine. I'll have a Bordeaux cask finish.
Yeah, there we go.
Whiskey instead. And we had the best ragu there. So like a big meaty ragu with great pasta.
Have you
Oh.
done a Bordeaux cask finish?
Yeah, we have. We've done a couple. We did a Tripper Distilled one last year for our shop in Princess Square in Glasgow City Centre, which we run every Christmas. And then we did a Ruby Port red wine kind of marriage cask.
You know
Finish.
would go really well. Like something that was quite light was that Glen Scotia Bordeaux Festival Edition. That was sort of like orange blossom honey notes, and that salinity quite gentle.
Nice.
Everyone came for a little bit. That would make a good little
Or
drink
that,
after a meal.
that Bunnahabhain. Libby kindly brought me back a sample of a Bordeaux, and that was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, repping Bunnahabhain.
Decent.
Yeah,
Bunnahabhain,
yeah. So maybe I'll have that one. I think it was the Feish bottling from a couple years ago.
David Brody comes
It
out with his
was,
guitar to serenade you at the table.
Oh yes,
You're
please.
like, he picks up the handkerchief off the table, and then just wipes the ragu off your face. Okay, so where's the third country you're going to go to then, Seb?
So after that, I would probably be going to another place I was on holiday not too long ago, Dubrovnik in Croatia.
Probably it's nice.
Had some amazing seafood there, amazing kind of mixed grills of seafood and meat. I don't want to go all meat on this three trip. I'm going to need to mix it up a wee bit. And we just had some amazing beers there as well, to be honest. So I'm not really sure what whiskey I would pair with that. Maybe something a bit kind of lighter and a bit crisper. Maybe like just a classic Kulila or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can
like
always
with the fish. Just cutting through.
You don't have to drink it neat. You can always mix it, make a highball, have a cocktail. There's no.
No, that's a good
Do you know
shout.
what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was.
I like that.
Goes well with seafood.
Seafood, but I'd always think something that's kind of got that lemony kind of citrus forward kind of note. So
White wine.
Yeah, white wine does go with seafood.
Yeah,
That's true. A nice
of
Chablis would be
course.
good, wouldn't it?
and then just a wee Kulila to finish the night. How about that?
Nice.
I always think like the more coastal sort of saline whiskies go quite well with seafood, obviously, right? But
Of course.
I agree that I'd probably have it after the meal. Although, having that said, I never know with me. Sometimes I just drink whiskey the whole time anyway. So,
Why
you've
not?
gone to Texas, you've gone to Florence, and then to
Yeah.
Dubrovnik. Excellent.
Yeah.
And then back off home.
Yeah, yeah. And I will have done some work in that trip as well, just for the balloon.
Yeah.
Just for tax purposes.
It's got the laptop
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
for at least
That's
5
it.
minutes at the dinner table. Yeah.
100%.
Right, Louis, what about yourself? Where are you going in the hot pair balloon?
Well, if I had to choose where I've been with work, I'd be pretty limited to Aberdeen, Inverness, and Clackmannanshire.
Quick trip.
No, I'm joking. So my first one, I think.
Seb's already used he's used all the fuel up anyway, going to Texas.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, sorry about
so,
that.
yeah, my actual,
Back on the train.
He's like that. Sorry, I've used all the fuel, Libby. You're going to have to walk it.
well, no, I'm not using the Glasgow Distillery hot air balloon.
He's like, whilst you pop down the road, can you pick up
Yeah,
my
what's
bottles
your
from
design?
auction? At the just get it for me on lunch.
I mean, if we were going branded, like the Bandit Club rum, like the label would be really cool on a hot air balloon. But I think, if I'm honest, I think I'd just go classic, you know, like a rainbow colour, like all the way around, like classic hot air balloon.
Yeah.
And then, just because I kind of saw it earlier, and it kind of came like to the top of my head when I thought about 3 countries to go to. You know that bridge that's in like Vietnam where it's on like 2 hands. It looks really cool and I want to go to that bridge, so I'd go to Vietnam. I suppose you'd have like, you know, Asian food whilst you're there.
It's the Golden Bridge in Da Nang.
Some generic
That's
Asian
it,
food.
yeah.
Whilst you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hands, yeah.
Some sort of Asian food.
So Vietnamese food is, you know, like pho
Yeah,
and things like that.
exactly,
You know,
yeah.
they do quite spicy food, but they also do really kind of mild
Yeah.
food dishes as well.
I
You know,
could
they
do
do those
that.
nice hand rolls. You know, when you like,
Spring roll.
yeah, but they're very thin, aren't they? It's very, very extremely thin.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'd have something like that. And I don't know, like, if it was going to go like something like spicy food, then potentially like, you know, peated whiskey. Second of all, it would probably be Italy because I think it's the top of my list. But where in Italy, I wouldn't know because I've never been.
I can strongly recommend Sicily.
Yeah, actually, Sicily sounds good.
Beautiful. Like so much going on. Live volcano there at the moment, kicking off.
Oh, one of
Etna.
our distillers, she was there recently, actually.
Naples.
Yeah.
Naples for the pizza.
Yeah, pasta, pizza, white wine, red wine, whatever kind of wine. I see myself like sat in Italy with like my shades on and like eating pasta and drinking wine. So yeah, but if I had to go for a whiskey, I'd probably go something like light and fruity. So I was thinking maybe like the tequila cask finish because it's quite refreshing, quite like tropical, something like that.
Stick a bit of soda water in it.
Yeah,
Highball it.
exactly. Some sort of, and then potentially somewhere in the States where I'm not entirely sure. Been to South Carolina, or was it North Carolina? It was one of the two. I think it was North Carolina. And that was really, really pretty, like around there. You have like these, like, it's like a really nice harbour and pier and everything. And obviously all the food in America was great, no matter where we went, like olive tree and all these sorts of places.
Except when they tell you how many calories is in what you're eating in America.
Yeah.
You like sit down there like
It's the best thing
starts
about
from
it.
like 1,400 calories and it goes up to like 4,000 calories. You're
Yeah.
like, do you want a shake? That's like an extra 1,000 calories. You're like, oh, stop telling me how many calories are in the food I'm ordering
Yeah.
on this menu. Yeah,
Well,
that's the worst thing.
my partner, he goes on about burritos from like California. Apparently, like his part of California is like in the mountains. The burritos there are like next level, and he's trying to find somewhere in Glasgow or at least local that does something similar. So
My days, love a
There is
burrito.
nowhere near it. I have hunted out decent Mexican food in this country for so fucking
Yeah.
long, and it does not exist. Nothing comes close.
And not like real Mexican food, that's true.
I remember going over, we went to, when we were in California, we went over the border down to a place called Rosarito. And it's probably like an hour inland. So you're past all the Americans and the tourists and everything. And it was $1 for a massive steak burrito. And I was just like, keep them coming, bro. Forget the
Nice.
bars. I'm staying right here
sounds good.
and just chow down on like Mexican food. Ah, yeah.
So
love it.
what would you pair with a burrito then? You're having a burrito in
Well,
some part of
it's got to be a
Carolina or
bourbon,
something.
hasn't it? You know what I mean? It's got to be.
Yeah.
Which kind of made me
boom.
think like if I wasn't gonna go to North Carolina, I would go to like Kentucky and do like a proper like bourbon distillery sort of thing, or yeah, just like have
On the
some
trail.
dirty bourbons. I remember trying a 50-year-old Pappy's.
Pappy Van Winkle.
That's the one.
Wow, 50-year-old.
on, I think it was 50-year-old, or it might have been 25.
50?
I can't remember. It was really old. Anyway, and me and one of my co-workers, Aidan, one of the distillers, we were both going to be on our own for Christmas Eve, so we decided to crack open this sample that he had, and I think we ordered Chinese as well. And yeah, we had this 50-year-old Pappy's and Chinese.
One of the rarest whiskies on the planet.
Are you sure it was 50 years old?
I'll have to have a look.
We just
Hang on.
just had a Chinese.
Let me have a dig. But yeah, so
I mean, I feel like even the 20-year-olds are like $2,000. Like the 50-year-old would probably be like
retail.
Oh right, it wasn't the 50. It was the 20-year-old. There you go. It was a 20-year-old.
20, yeah.
The 20-year-old
Still.
Pappy's family reserve.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, it was fab. And yeah, we were Chinese with it because.
If you ever see
yeah.
them in a bar and you say, oh, how much is that, Pappy? 17, 18-year-old, whatever. They say, I'll just check for you. Oh, that'd be £80. I'm like, is that for 50 mils? No, that's for 30 mils or even 25 mils.
Yeah.
I will be okay. I'm going to survive this.
Yeah.
I'm going to manage not to drink it. Yeah.
Put it in a blind with Eagle Rare. I guarantee you the Eagle
Eagle
wins.
Rare.
Yeah, very good point. It was really interesting actually. It was kind of like nail polish remover kind of. That's all I really remember from it, if I'm honest. But anyway.
I love it.
Yeah, so there's that.
You're probably one of the only people that actually tasted it because everyone
Yeah.
else just keeps it straight.
Well, it was in like a little
well done.
mini sample. I think his dad had given it here. So, it was obviously Christmas Eve, but it's for something special and just so happy to be that. So.
Got to try it. Very
Exactly.
memorable.
Yeah.
Most people haven't tried it. I haven't tried.
Do you know,
None.
that Ardent American bottle, the Golden Promise, came into the house. My flatmate who works for North Star, the independent bottler. So we've got lots of drams in this house, and we bought the bottle to like share. We'd halved it, and literally like I passed him it, and I was like, oh, there you go, and he just like rips the thing straight off, and I'm like, oh my god, we're opening it straight away. Are we okay? Like that's what happens in this flat. Like nothing is left unsealed.
That's the way to be.
All right, so you've gone to
Vietnam,
Golden Bridge in Da Nang.
Yeah.
That's it.
Italy somewhere.
Italy.
We said
Narrowed
Sicily,
it down
didn't
quite
we?
a lot.
Yeah.
And then the USA
Yeah.
down in California on the Mexican border. Do you know where in California? Which mountain region?
Well, my partner's from like near Sacramento, so it must be like somewhere near there that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would suspect that if you learned to make that burrito, he would be very happy.
That is a very good point.
Just saying.
I could maybe do that.
Just saying. Thanks for taking us through that. Seb, you haven't been on the pod before, so we're going to do Pudding Island Dram. So over to Two Puds to explain Pudding Island Drams for people who haven't listened to it before.
So you are being whisked away for 30 days to an island of your choice. It could be tropical, could be rainy, could be in the middle of nowhere, whatever you want to envisage as your paradise. Whilst there, you get to choose one whiskey and one whiskey only. You get to choose one dessert. And you can have as much of that as you want all day, every day. One album, no compilations, no playlists, and we're banning all country music other than trad country. And then you decide how you're getting home and who is going to take you home. So let's go with your island. Describe your perfection. What's your paradise?
Well, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, what's an island or what's a place that has good memories, has a strong. Because I could easily just say, a nice tropical island, because it'd be a nice holiday. Yeah. But before COVID, or just before COVID, me and Rachel, my now wife, we went to Jura. Thank you. We went to Jura for like a wee holiday, just on the back of going to Isla. And it was it was kind of a last minute decision just to add an extra couple of days, staying at the Jura Hotel, right opposite the distillery. And it turned into like one of the best holidays I've ever been on in my life. And it was amazing. It's an island of like less than 200 people. It's got like 5,000 deer or something on it. It's got all this amazing different bits of nature. It's got this great little town, great pub in the hotel. When we were looking, and then as COVID was just passing and we were able to get out again, we were then saying, oh, well, let's get out of this one bedroom tenement flat that we've been stuck in for what feels like 3 years. So we went back to Jura, and it was just like bookending, that kind of passage of time. And it's just a place that really holds special memories, just from the stuff we did on the island and the walking. And we went up and saw the Quarry Wreck Whirlpool, which is at the very northern tip of the island. You have to walk past this place called I think it's Barnhill House, which is where George Orwell wrote 1984 while he was dying of tuberculosis. It was just all these little bits that were just so memorable, and it was brilliant. So I think I could definitely spend 30 days on Jura.
So you're going to kick out the entire population of Jura for 30 days and have it all to yourself?
Yeah, just me and 5,000 deer.
What was Corryvreckan like, by the way?
It was crazy. It was brilliant to see. You park your car like kind of halfway down the island, it feels like. Then you walk in like 3 hours to get there. And it was like a bright sunny day. It was perfect weather. It was like really hot. And then as we got onto the tip of the island and you saw the whirlpool appear before you, the heavens opened, the wind came, and it was just like a really visceral, like Mother Nature is here. And it was crazy. And you could see the whirlpool in the middle, just this like really, really choppy water. It was quite...
I was going to ask a stupid question. Is it only there for set times in the day or set tidal range?
No, I think it's there the whole time. I think it's just
all the time,
harder to see sometimes. It just looks like really choppy water sometimes. It's not like a big plug has been pulled out, from the bottom of the sea.
That's getting added to our list, Duncan.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, when we eventually get travelling, maybe we'll just do a whole year of being on the road.
Well, once you've got the hot air balloon, it'll be easy.
Each week is just us recapping as our partners try to track us down and bring us back to the family home, and then we move again.
Yeah, it's like hunting.
It's like GoFundMe campaigns. Find Mike and Duncan.
Yeah, they'll be near a distillery somewhere.
What are we on to next?
So that's your island.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go first? Do you want to go with music or desserts? What do you fancy?
Let's go music.
Go on then.
A band I've been listening to a lot recently is Elephant Sessions, who are kind of a traddy vibe, I guess. Maybe a bit too close to your country vibes, kind of like upbeat, kind of fiddle, and like there's a banjo in it, I think, as well.
Seb, a little secret, we actually like it when people disobey us on the pod.
Okay.
Like, we like a bit of pushback. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
well, Elephant Sessions, great. Kind of, I've been listening to a lot of that while I've been working, because it's like great pace, no vocals to like, distract you.
Oh, no vocals?
No, not just all kind of instruments, I guess. But yeah, nice and kind of modern. And I saw them in Orkney last year. I went up for the folk festival up there, and we were in this town hall, and we'd never heard of them. We didn't know what we were going into, and the night started off with like the local choir in this like gym hall, but it was like not a good choir. It was like really bad, doing like Journey, Don't Stop Believing, and we were like, what have we signed up to here? Oh no!
I love that you said that. I
like a shit glee.
No, because sometimes people think because it's a sort of public service they need to be nice. But I remember going to the church at Christmas when they're doing like some carols or singing along, and you think, oh, you'd be nice about it. And they were singing, and then a lady was doing like a solo vocal over the top of this song, and she was out by like three keys or whatever.
No.
She was just like so wildly out, and I was like looking across, and everyone's going, yeah, and I was going, this is horrendous. This shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, but I bet you stood up and ruined the whole...
No, of course I didn't.
You're awful!
Just slapped her off. Boo. Just did a phone jacker. Hello? Yeah, I'm in the church. Listening to someone sing it. Shit. I'm leaving.
Man.
So Elephant
Sessions, I was tempted to say, but then last week I went to the bandstand, which is like an outdoor amphitheatre in Glasgow in Covent Grove Park, and I saw Future Islands play, and they're a band. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they're great music. They've got if it's one album, they've got a great 2014 album, I think it is, called Singles. And it's just they're just really kind of upbeat, great quality music, quite lyrical. And the main performer, the singer, is just, I would I would recommend watching their performance on Late with Jules Holland.
I love Late with Jules Holland when it's some sort of... Okay, let's write it down. Say it again.
So Future
Islands, and the album is Singles.
Yeah, so 2014 album. They've got a great song called Seasons, and that album featured heavily at our wedding a couple months ago.
Oh,
nice.
So there's that. But then Libby said, maybe you should choose a band that's kind of shit, because that's an ongoing joke.
You're not meant to tell them that, Seb.
Oh, right, okay.
You're meant to go
I've let the cat out of the bag.
Steps are my favourite band of the entire world.
Claiming that this is
Sean
Yeah.
was dropping steps and Duncan's face was...
I was really confused for a few. I was like,
You sort of like went with it and you're going, is he genuine?
I was like,
And then you
steps
sort of-
feels okay. all
You
right.
actually started to accept it a little bit in your face.
You never know what people are into. I mean,
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm going to stick with my choices. I'm going to stick with Future Islands.
okay, cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Like it. Locked in.
Well, I was listening to the album that someone said, well, at least one of them during the week. So I'll give that particular thing a listen this week.
I've just downloaded both. So
Nice.
that's now on my to listen to list. So dessert.
Pudding.
What was going to be pudding, dessert, afters,
Yeah.
depending on where you are in the country.
I am not a dessert guy. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to ruin the concept or the game, but if I'm going for dessert, I'd go for something like an affogato, but I did listen to the last podcast.
Claire.
So I'm not going to go for that, and I'm going to go for a cheese board.
Okay,
Nice,
yeah.
okay.
Cheese board with lots of crackers, lots of bits on it. My thinking being if it's 30 days, at least there's like a variety of textures there. There's a variety of flavours, lots of different cheeses.
Just to keep you entertained.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Roll around in them on the floor?
Oh,
Should it rub it on your face?
No, well,
that
day
cracker.
one, you've got the oat cakes. Day two, you've got the kind of more snappy ones, whatever they're called. Day three, you've maybe got toast.
You probably get a digestive in there as well if you're lucky. Maybe.
Digestive,
That's
yeah.
digestive.
Yeah.
What's your favourite? So, out of those, then, what cheese actually gets you excited on a cheese board? You all know, cheese is cheese. There is no bad cheese,
Yeah.
but there are some very good cheeses.
I'm straight into the mouldy ones. So straight into big blue
Yes.
cheese. If it's got lots of like mouldy veins running through it, that's the one I'm going for first for sure.
It's actually good for you as well.
Have you got a
nice
favourite
cheese.
blue cheese?
There's
I
one.
mean, does anyone actually pay attention to the labels on it? You just sort of buy it based on how hard or soft it is. Saint-Agur, is it Saint-Agur?
Yeah, there's that one. That's kind of like really
Creme-
creamy, spreadable.
Creme de
Yeah.
Santagur, which is the spreadable one that's had.
Ooh.
When I was in
Nice.
Biarritz, we just literally went out, bought a baguette in the morning, a 2-litre thing of wine for like £1, and then just cream cheese all day. That was it. Didn't eat, and then just got smashed. It was a stag do.
Nice.
What can you
so-
even get for a
I had
pound?
an
What can you
excuse.
even get for a pound in England? You'd have to go to Asda and pretend you're a child to get a child's meal. You can't get anything for a pound in England.
And I have got a wine tip if you'd want it. So if you like rosé, or rose if you're Duncan.
Rose.
There's obviously Whispering Angel is the fancy one that everyone wants to try and buy and everything else. There's an alternative called the Screaming Devil. Asda are doing it for £10 a bottle. It's better than Whispering Angel. But if you buy 6, 25% off, you're picking that up for £7.50 a bottle. I know when we mention wine, people sometimes go out and buy loads. So I get lots of anti-hate back on Twitter because they're like, other halves have bought shit tons of wine based on our
Right, what's it called again?
Screaming Devil.
From Asda.
You can get it everywhere, but Asda have got this really good deal.
Is that a red or a white?
It's a rose.
It's a rose. Do you drink? I don't know if I can drink rosé.
Oh,
I'm
not a
rosé
rosé fan. No.
That's
I
like
am.
that's such a turn off for me. Like rosé, I just like
Well, I'm not trying to turn you on, luckily.
Wouldn't you rather have a nice?
Have I
wine?
ruined the date?
Yeah, you've ruined the date.
That's your like Zinfandels,
I love it.
yeah. But I think you can get like dry ones.
It's what people used to drink before Prosecco got popular. It was
Yeah.
like, the lads would be having a few lagers, which has never changed. And, the cliche would be that ladies are having a glass of rosé, but these days it's usually a glass of Prosecco. Now, of course, we know that everyone drinks what they like, but the point is that the sort of stereotype went from rosé to kind of Prosecco, I feel. Do you remember that sort
Oxford
of rosé?
shirt, chino shorts, boat shoes, and a lovely rose.
Libby doesn't remember because
Yes.
Libby's literally still in her 20s, so she can't remember that time. She had only known the Prosecco world.
If you like rosé, have a look at that. That's what I'm going to say. So, Seb, what whiskey are you going to be drinking on this island when you're there for 30 days?
Thanks for the question. So I think for me, it's got to be a dram that's like not. You're going to stay away from the heavily peated stuff, I think, because you don't want one like dominant flavour. You want something that's got a few layers to it. You're not going to get totally bored of it. So I'd say something similar to like what I'm drinking just now, the Craig Ellicky 13. I think that would be a decent choice. If you're on Jura, maybe a Jura.
Yeah.
But I think maybe for me, the one that kind of fits the bill from what we produce is the Core Range Triple Distilled, which is my favourite
Super
whiskey
smooth.
that we make. And so smooth, so kind of light, but every time I go back to it, there's kind of new layers kind of getting chipped away.
You're not allowed to say whiskey smooth, but the truth is, in the sort of
It's one of those
50 and
those
under,
notes
you want
that
a whiskey to
everyone
be
like
smooth.
goes, you can't. But why would you not want it to be smooth?
Yeah.
Smooth is good. Smooth is nice. Smooth is rounded.
Yeah.
It's like
Flavour and smooth is like the win-win, right?
Absolutely.
But that's the thing. Is there actually any
Smooth is
rules
good.
in whiskey? You know, who wrote the rules on whiskey? Where is
Exactly.
the rule book? I've never seen one.
Well, we could write our own rule book, couldn't we? We could do that. There's nothing, nothing to say we couldn't do that.
You could pitch it to the
Honest to Malt
SWA
rule
and
book.
get them to change.
Yeah.
Just do our own version.
No smooth.
Exactly.
I do remember how impressed, like when I did that day on the stand with Libby, I would just say that when people came around, they were so impressed with the core range and particularly the triple distilled. Peat heads loved the peated one, but people who they were like, oh my God, this triple distilled is fantastic. And I'm like, you can just buy a bottle.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to. And like, they weren't expecting it to be as good as it is. That's what I would say.
I think people see triple distilled and they instantly think either it's like Irish whiskey or they think triple distilled means less flavour. Like you're getting rid of flavour. And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm the same. Every time I pour it, I always get a good reaction from it.
Which is nice, isn't it, right? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is actually nice. Oh, thanks.
you're like,
Thanks.
oh, thanks. This is
Yeah.
actually decent.
Actually
Yeah, thanks for
nice.
that.
Yeah.
That's
why
a-
we
that's
make
a-
it.
Thanks for that compliment.
I think that's all of your selections then, I think. How are you getting home? What's your mode of transport and who's going to be picking you up?
Okay, 2 words. Skyhook. So, let me explain.
Right.
I was watching Batman the other night, The Dark Knight, and
Classic.
Yeah.
there's a bit where Batman needs a fast escape out of a building. So he
Yeah.
throws like a flare thing out the window, and then somebody comes and picks him up in a plane, and he is just lifted straight out
Yes.
the building.
He gets
You
dragged
remember
out.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a
Yeah,
wee,
yeah,
like
yeah.
a tent basically that goes up in the air and a big plane collects it and off he goes. And if I'm on this island for 30 days, I think I'm going to be wanting to get out of there pretty quickly. So sky hooking
Nice.
out. And usually I'd say, obviously, my new wife, I'd love to pick me up, but she's famously late for everything. So I think maybe instead I would have Michael Caine / Alfred from the same movie.
Quality.
Yeah, because
That would be more relaxing than if Heath Ledger picked you up dressed as the Joker, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, that would
then
not be
on
what you
the
want.
way back in the boat, he'd just shoot you in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why so serious?
So you're going to get, okay, yeah. Well, you'd have a lovely chat with Michael Caine on the way back, wouldn't you?
It'd be lovely. Yeah, I'd enjoy that.
Very, very good choices, I got to say. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for thinking
So-
it through before you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
That's okay.
And we'll be checking out the future islands.
Yep.
Future Island and Elephant
Right,
Session.
check
that's
them
awesome.
out. I was off work today, so I didn't have much to do. So
right.
Yeah.
give it some.
Oh, it's
thought.
a bank holiday, isn't it? Is that right? Or is it something?
Bank holiday
it?
today in Scotland, but we were
right.
working on Saturday, so take
Thanks
it
for
back
coming
today.
on the bank holiday in the evening.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you two aren't steaming on a bank holiday.
Oh,
No,
no.
Libby's been at work.
Ah, right, okay.
Someone's got to work.
Double time, hopefully, Lib.
Oh, I wish.
It was like triple time.
I left an hour early though, so it's all right.
And that was after going to the pub at lunch, wasn't it? So, all right. Well, thanks very much for coming on today to have a chat with us.
Yeah.
We always say this, but if you enjoy listening to the pod, we very much appreciate it. Please feel free to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple, preferably a 5-star. Helps to spread the word about the podcast.
Follow us in all the usual places at honestomalt.com, Twitter, Instagram, everything else. You can see us at honestomalt.com on the interweb. Duncan is slaving away, doing articles left, right and centre on there. He's updating his supermarket selections for Tesco's best drams, and has got some new articles planned.
We
So
do have a big one
monitor.
planned, Mike. Very big one.
Yes.
Groundbreaking.
Can you reveal?
No, we're not reveal yet because it needs a little bit more work, but it's going to be groundbreaking.
Ooh,
He
the
hasn't told
tension.
I told you to a few months ago. You said that sounds
I know.
amazing. Get on that.
Yeah.
Also, we should say a big thank you to Seb and Libby for coming on the podski today.
Yeah,
From Glasgow
really
Distillery.
good.
Thank you very much.
Oh, real pleasure.
And yeah, Lib's second time.
Yeah, I know.
You've put up with us on 2 occasions
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So
And I've actually met you now
And
as well,
no
Mike.
Scylla.
The last
I know.
time I hadn't met you. Had I met? Yeah, I think I've met Duncan before.
We met briefly at Kendall, I think.
Or was that after? I can't
We met
remember.
Kendall.
But anyway.
before he fell asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the first time I fell asleep. The second time I didn't fall asleep. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
you've got to sleep at some point during the day. Just depends when. Mike, I've got to put you on the spot. Of the two releases that we've tried today, of the Cognac cask and the Tokai cask, what's everyone's favourite of the two? If you can say, obviously we can say, but whether you two say, I don't know. But Mike, what's your favourite of the two?
I'm going to go Tokai.
I'm going Cognac.
Normally, I'd go Tokai, but I've been sat here tonight and I think it's the Cognac.
It's 2 and 2. Look at that. It's 50-50 down the middle, people. Both good.
An amazing shout, Duncan, on the similarity to Springbank 10.
Yes! A compliment for Mike at the end of the pod.
I know.
Hey!
It makes me feel sick. I've said something nice to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a big compliment to us as well.
You have to have a shower after this, Mike, now.
I'm gonna go roll in the garden and make myself sick.
After this, I'm going to go and get Springbank 10. I'm going to pour it and see whether I think I'm talking out my arse or not. But we'll find out.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. And we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.